Hi everyone, Alex here again with another image review session. This time we're diving into photos from 2025 taken in January in the Cayman Islands, and these are just the first few that I've processed out. Actually primarily processed out because of need to talk about them when reviewing some of the gear on the trip and that sort of thing. But it's a nice smattering from throughout the trip, so it gives a good impression of that trip. I've not sorted the pictures from this trip at all yet, but nonetheless, I have processed 39 out, so that's quite a good running. So, as always, on the right-hand side, you can see the camera settings. Remember that my Nikonos 13mm fisheye, which I use a lot, comes up as a 50mm f1.8, but that actually should just say Nikonos 13mm fisheye. On there. I should probably change that in the EXIF. Actually, I should probably go through and edit them whenever I do a download, but that's a bit too much like hard work. So right, this first photo is one of our dive guide Sophie modeling for a setup shot that we did, that I set up with backlighting inside the funnel or smokestack of the Kittiwake wreck, with her modelling in, and it was just a good controlled location for all the group to do it. We did one setup shot here, one setup shot inside one of the old recompression chambers inside the wreck. I had the strobe, because it's quite a big space inside the smokestack, I had the strobe on a specially long pole, so that it could be suspended in the middle of the smokestack. Obviously, it'd be just easier to get someone to hold it, but then their bubbles would come up through the smokestack into the picture, so you'd have to deal with that. So having it suspended in the middle there allowed us to create this shot. And it was a nice controlled environment setup shot so that all the group could do different shots of her posing in there. And this was just me making sure it all worked at the beginning before that. But it's still a nice shot. I like the setup. So it's a fun diver on the Kittiwake shot. So there we go. I was using the Retra strobes on the camera and a Backscatter HF1 as the off-camera strobe. This is the beautiful sponge, colourful sponge growth, or some of it, at Orange Canyon, one of the dive sites on the west side of the island. There's a nice French angelfish in this one. He's up there. You can look at him at the top there. And the sponges. On this day, I was experimenting shooting with higher ISO than normal. I was just enjoying trying some different things during Cayman trip, and I thought I'd try some wide angle shooting at my kind of normal f13, but really knocking the ISO quite a bit higher because the cameras are so clean. I really wanted to see what it lost. I think the colours aren't as good. I think the dynamic range isn't as good. I think at lower ISO, these whiting out bits on the bottom of the fish would have a bit more detail held in them. And I think there is a slight grain in this picture that you wouldn't get at a lower ISO. But nonetheless, it's still a very usable shot. I was just curious to do that really for myself. So I did that on that particular dive, just to liven things up. These are also high ISO on the Kittiwake, but actually in this case shot high ISO because I needed that ISO really to make the shots work. This is a shot with Sam. This is in the same smokestack, just trying a different lighting setup. This was actually on the dive where I was trying different lighting setups to work out which ones would be best to do for the group as a group setup. We tried this one. It's all right as an idea. I think it would have worked better when the Kittiwake was more vertical. Now it's tilted over almost on its side. It's a bit trickier to set this one up. This is another one we tried inside the diving room. These are all the old gas canisters, and you've got Sam there at the entrance coming in and out. Again, it's quite hard to do off-camera strobes these days on the Kittiwake just because the wreck is at such an angle. It's very hard to find places you can wedge them. And this is my test shot of the other setup that we did for the group. This was on the test dive for it. And actually, I positioned the strobe better, I think, for the group, the off-camera strobe, which here is inside the chamber. But when we did it with Sophie, I've not processed one of my pictures from that. I had the strobe right at the back of the chamber, and I think that worked better than where it is here on the side. So that's that shot there. These next shots are shot on, the reason I've processed these out is this one, this one, this one. Yeah, these three are all shot on a dive site that I'd not been to before. It's a new dive site that the Cayman Islands Department of Environment have put in for people to dive at, and it's named after, it's called Broadbelt's Bommies, and it's named after the Broadbelt family, who are obviously very good friends of mine. And so for them, I took some photos there and processed them out just so they had some nice photos of their dive site. So that's why we did these, and this is Sam modelling on that dive. They're all on the same dive. This is just underneath the dive boat. Always enjoy the chance if you can get the dive boat in front of the sun, and look for subjects underneath it. This is out on the wall, nice brown tube sponge, and then some azure vase sponges also out on the edge of the wall. It's a nice site. It's a little bit deeper site, so you don't get as long there as you'd like, but it's got some nice sponge growth on it. Lovely clear water. A little bit of macro. This is with the Sony 90mm, just a secretary blenny yawning, or spiny head blenny yawning. Always tricky to try and catch these when they are yawning because they tend to wiggle about a bit, but it's a good challenge for the lighting. You can see it's lit with the Retra strobes. You can see the circular tubes in that picture reflected in his eye. This is an unusual sponge shrimp. I don't know the species of this one. I need to look it up. But yeah, very cool animal to see. And really nice in this deep red sponge. Really nice opportunity. So I've not taken a Cayman shot like that before. This is back on the Kittiwake. Sam modelling for me on these ones. These are shot with the Canon R5 Mark II with the FCP. So this is inside a corridor. I've done a little bit of corrective straightening on this one to get the straight lines of this corridor straight. Sometimes I leave it bendy when I shoot them, but this particular shot I wanted to straighten it back up again. It looks better, the corridor, when it's straightened, I think. But some shots in there look nice with the fisheye bend in there. And I only had the FCP as a wide angle, so I didn't have the option of putting a rectilinear on. This is the FCP as well. This one I don't mind the bendiness in it. I think it helps create a nice impression in the shot. There's so much sponge growth now in this room. It's so colourful. It's really nice. And we used to take shots here when the wreck was first down, and it was just basically bare metal. So it's really cool to see the difference down the years. And this is a very colourful sponge growth. The richest sponge growth on the Kittiwake is kind of in the shady bits. So where the wreck is tilted over and fallen on its side, pretty much, that area is full of really great sponge growth. You can see these porous rope sponges here. Really nice. Lots of little gobies and things hanging around them. There's I forget the name of the sponge now. A branched tube sponge there. Growing up, some juvenile Creole wrasse and things on the side. So yeah, really nice shot. And there's Sam cruising around posing in the background for the picture. It's difficult to know. I think I'd have probably it's difficult to know where to put Sam on this one. Maybe a bit lower might have worked, because I think where she stands out well. But you lose now the view down the wreck, which gives a, you still get depth in the picture, but there's a lovely perspective of the hull running away here, which she's obviously in front of. Maybe if she was lower in front of the sand, it would be nice, but I think then the picture might be a bit unbalanced. So it's always a tricky spot to get the modelling position quite right on. Obviously her pose is great, but I meant in terms of my composition. Right, this is another secretary or spiny head blenny yawning. You can see he's very nice pose there. I really like this background. I shot this not that open because it was really high magnification, so it's shot on f/22. But because these guys are so small, it's shot with the SMC3. The depth of field is minuscule, and I just love how this pink sort of encrusting algae on the reef, coralline algae, just creates a beautiful setting. This was a very nicely positioned blenny for shooting. These guys are much smaller than everyone thinks. They literally are. Matt said on one of our videos, they're like a matchstick head, and I think that's very true. And I think it's a nice, nice, and because they are so small, once you shoot them at this sort of magnification with an SMC3, they, you just get minuscule depth of field, and it's given that lovely background, despite the fact it's shot on f/22. This is an unusual, this is called a peppermint bass. It's a type of cave bass. Very secretive fish, live inside the reef structure, really, and you only see them occasionally when they come to the entrances of their holes. And yeah, for a couple of days I saw them in a row. And I shot them both with the Sony and with the Canon, but this is one of the Canon shots. But yeah, really handsome fish. Not seen very much. I have photographed them spawning. If you hang around places where they live at sunset, they come out as pairs and spawn. And it's pretty cool to get that shot too. Right, a few topside shots now, which I'll whiz through. This is a hickory. It's a freshwater turtle that's endemic to Cuba and was introduced before records were kept, so probably about 500 years ago, to the Cayman Islands. They know it's been introduced because there's no fossil record of it on the Cayman Islands. So it's been there longer than anyone can remember. It's always been there, but they think it was introduced there rather than it's naturally spread from Cayman. From Cuba to Cayman. But yeah, this is the spot I went to with Andrew. These are some shots in the Botanic Gardens. A green heron just moving across this lovely water weed here. This is a dove with the spots on the wings. I forget the species of it. It's named after a guy, isn't it? So that's why I can't remember the species. And then back underwater now. There's a couple more topsides. Maybe I'll whizzle through and do all these topsides. This one is Cayman Islands bullfinch, so it's endemic to the Cayman Islands. This is a female and a very, very cool looking bird. Let me just zoom in. And there she is. Yeah, what a cool animal, cool looking bird. So that was really nice to see. This is a Cayman Islands parrot, also called a white-faced parrot. Make a lot of noise, reasonably common in the Cayman Islands. Hard to get really good photos of. I would love to have a photo of one of these flying. They look so much better when they're flying because they've got all this lovely. Sorry, it's not zooming where I want it to today. They've got this lovely blue plumage on their wings, and they look much nicer flying. So one day I'll get a flying shot. Another dove. This is a blue iguana, so this is the type of iguana that's endemic to Grand Cayman, so it's different from the ones on Little Cayman and the Brack. And these are a couple from the Botanic Gardens, which is a great place to photograph them. They're always out and about there. You don't tend to see them much at all anywhere else in Grand Cayman. In the Botanic Gardens, they've all got these little tags on them because it's a very small population, and I think you probably can't see a blue iguana anywhere without a tag in it. Just so they know the individuals and can keep monitor of them all. They're famous for having these bloodshot eyes. So the blue iguanas. So not only do they have this amazing blue color, but they always have this bloodshot eye, which is really cool. Right, that's a couple of blue iguanas. Right, that's all our topsides. So let's dive into some more underwater shots. I need to go the other way now. This is a single strobe shot of this tube sponge growing on the wall. Shot with some inward lighting, but only from one side. I have darkened some of this down around it. The original shot on the back of the camera looked like this, but when I opened it up in the computer, there was quite a bit of light spill onto here. Not lots, but a little bit. So I've darkened that back down and just made use of a passing diver who at this point didn't realize I was photographing. Obviously, they're looking the other way. But them in the frame, I think, adds quite a lot. I really like the effect of this background. I like this. You can see nice detail of all the corals on the reef. This is at Babylon Dive Site, those who've been in my workshops. A big barrel sponge on the wall in Grand Cayman with Sam posing next to it just to show how huge it is. It really is an impressive sponge, this one. Really nice. This is at, can't remember, Valley of the Dolls, I think, dive site, for those that know Grand Cayman. From one of the blackwater dives, a leptocephalus larva of a moray eel. I really love these yellow specks it's got down its body. They look really cool. And then where the body doubles up here, you've got this weird greeny colour refraction, I guess, from its body, which is pretty cool. A couple of shots from Little Cayman. We did a day trip to Little Cayman. The boats from Ocean Frontiers are fast enough to whiz us over there, so we get to go over there and shoot the spectacular wall dives in Little Cayman. We whiz over there for the day, do 3 dives and whiz back. It's kind of a full day trip, but it's a fantastic adventure, and the diving reward in the middle of the day is great, doing 3 dives in Little Cayman. So these are brown tube sponge below a big barrel sponge, and a big barrel sponge on the wall. There's actually a video of me shooting this shot, or beginning to shoot this setup. The video, if you've seen it, is a little bit earlier in the sequence than this. I fiddled with the strobes a bit more to get the lighting the way I wanted it for this one. Some more blackwater shots. A little jack sheltering inside a tunicate or a salp. This is a very handsome flounder larva with this great crest. Really, really nice looking flounder larva. I do like flounder larva. This is quite an older one. I think when they're younger, this stomach is extruded more at the bottom of the frame. And a juvenile pufferfish, which was pretty cool. He was very, very tiny. And the image quality is not the best on this one, but he was a cool animal, so it was worth processing. And this one here is a larval stage of a banded coral shrimp, banded cleaner shrimp. As you can probably tell, it's quite a late larval stage. And this one I photographed without my flash guns had run out, or my flash trigger had run out of juice. So I shot this using the torchlight or the video lights from the HF1 backscatter flashes. Okay, and those are all shot with Sony, but this is, well, actually no, that one, is that Sony? No, no, these are both with the Canon. And this is with the Canon, a Stingray. I didn't have a dome port for the R5, so I didn't shoot it very much on the sandbar, because I'd rather have the option of doing splits. But this shot here is shot with the FCP. As that was the main lens I was using for wide angle with the Canon, so they were these are all FCP shots. So that's FCP on the sandbar. I like these cleaner shots. I don't really like the feeding. I much prefer to just go away from where the rays get fed, and I prefer the opportunity to shoot single rays cruising in this beautiful environment. A Caribbean reef shark whizzing over the reef. It was a bit of a murky, dark day in the end when we went to see the sharks. And so it was a great opportunity to shoot these longer exposures with some panning. And this is shot with a Canon as well. Other end of the size range, a Shaun the sheep. So there's our shark. Just zoom in on him. And other end of the size range, Shaun the sheep, nudie. You do get them in Cayman. They are a cool little guy. They're a different species. They're called the blue-spotted Costiella, or blue-spotted Shaun the sheep. They're not as cute-looking as the Shaun the sheeps in Asia, but they are the same size and the same annoyance to shoot. And it is pretty cool to have them in the Caribbean, I have to say. A golden rough-head blenny, a really handsome individual here. Look at these fantastic... sorry about this. Some reason my zoom is not working as it normally does. These fantastic cirri on its head. Really fancy the rough-head blennies. Really, really small. This is shot with the backscatter strobe. I can tell by the reflections in the eye. Look. So this is shot with the HF1. Because you can see the two flash tubes rather than the circular flash tube reflecting in the eye. When we looked earlier at those, so they're the two flash tubes of the HF1, and I know that first blenny, you could see the circular flash tubes of the Retras. There we go. I don't know what that middle blenny is. Sorry about this. I'm sure no one's interested in this apart from me. And that one, hard to tell. Maybe HF1. Can't tell that one. It might actually, it's probably more than it's Retra, but with the diffuser on, actually, because I think that's what I would most likely to have been using. Right, so we're nearly there. This is a beautiful orange sponge on the reef wall. Just a very simple shot with the sponge against the silhouetted reef. And I just like this shot because there was this four-eyed butterfly fish hanging around the sponge, and I was able to work him into the composition, which was nice. It was a really big, impressive sponge, actually, so you can see from the size of it relative to the butterfly fish. A photo of a fairy basslet photographed against bright water, which was what gave me this chance to get this white background. So I just very carefully exposed it. You can see I slowed down to a 30th of a second to make this water white. If I'd been at like a normal sort of 125, it would have been lovely blue water. But I wanted to try this overexposed background, so slowed my shutter speed down, allowed the water to overexpose relative to the fish that was kind of silhouetted against it, and then fill flashed on the fish. And I like that effect. And then there's this, finally, a lettuce leaf sea slug on this lovely orange ball sponge. Just a really cool combination of subject matter, which was really nice to see. Lettuce leaf sea slugs are quite common, but often unnoticed. But when they're on a good background, they're a really nice subject. So those are a few of my early process pictures from the Cayman Islands. I hope you enjoyed them. It's always fun taking pictures there. And I'm back again soon with another one of these.